I feel like we have this conversation every 6 months. Nintendo announces their financial results for the quarter, and then we all bitch and complain about it and talk about how we could run Nintendo better than they can. But this time it seems like they kind of might have an ace up their sleeve, so let's get into it. Okay, so Nintendo has announced for their fiscal year ending in March that they have lost $457 million US, and that's bad. This is the third time in a row that they've reported losses, and it's getting harder and harder to defend them. You guys have seen me make videos before about Nintendo, and I've talked about Nintendo on pretty much it, and podcasts and stuff, saying, guys, don't worry about it. It's Nintendo. Just root for them, because eventually they'll come back. But it just gets harder and harder every time that they just keep doing the same thing. It's clearly not working, and then they post that they lose money. What do you expect, guys? And the worst part of it, for Wii U owners like me, they announced that the Wii U is the biggest source of their profit loss. It's the thing that is eating the most shit in their line of products. The 3DS is doing okay, and deservedly so. It's awesome. Now, to beef up their profit margins with the Wii U, they were talking about adding more virtual console games and working on more games that utilize the gamepad, which means nothing. They said this last time, oh, we're going to make more Wii U games. Okay, that's not going to be a quarter. That's not going to fix everything next quarter. It's not going to fix anything in the short term anytime soon, and it's just not going to be a good permanent fix. Granted, I don't know. I'm not a financial analyst, but for someone like me, looking at it, that's how I feel. I think the amount of time that Nintendo has been bleeding money is total justification for WADA's resignation. I mean, come on. There has to be some sort of change in leadership and company mindset to fix things, and they've been doing the same thing. And every time they've reported losses, we've just gotten little changes that don't really do anything. We need a total corporate takeover and change of the mindset. Now, there is one thing that has been announced that I think could be a little bit of a game changer. This is Nintendo is working on products that are essentially Skylanders or Disney Infinity figures for Nintendo games. And the coolest part about it is that Nintendo products already have NFC communication enabled, so that means that you don't have to buy a starter pack with a base. You can just buy a Mario figurine, and for Nintendo, they're kind of looking at it as a universal figure that isn't just going to work with one game. It's going to work with multiple Nintendo products and kind of be like a memory card, a content hub, and all kinds of things. And I think this could be very interesting. If anything, maybe they could start selling a ton of these figures and giving free game codes out and just make profit off of the figures. If this blows up, that would be really cool. At first, I was like, yeah, good idea, Nintendo. Just saturate the market. We already have Infinity and Skylanders. Now we need Nintendo. But the way they're going about it makes me think a little bit differently about it, and I'm a little more excited about it. I'm just worried, is it going to reach the masses, or is this just going to be a thing that more hardcore Nintendo fans buy into and no one else? Oh, and also, these Nintendo figures, if they don't use Pokemon, they're crazy. They're absolutely out of their fucking minds. Oh, and also for that Tamagotchi Life Simulator game, Nintendo announced that they are not having gay marriages in the game because they don't want to make a political stance, so they didn't allow that option. And the whole you can read into it, the whole press release that they announced behind it is pissing people off, and rightly so. I'm not the type of person to get into social issues and stuff, but it is a perfect example of Nintendo just being totally ass backwards and like, what the fuck, guys? So there you have it, guys. This is really the first video where I've held Nintendo's ass to the fire. I've always defended them because I grew up with Nintendo, and at the end of the day, we all want to see them to succeed. But it's getting harder and harder, and I really would like to see changes. I want to see Iwata fired. I want to see a cool new CEO guy, president, and who just takes charge and makes Nintendo awesome and gets people really excited about them again. And I think these Nintendo figures could provide a boost. I'm really excited to see them. They're going to announce them at E3, and I can't wait to see what Nintendo's going to do with them and how they're going to integrate them into games. So definitely be sure to keep an eye out for that. They're going to be announcing it at a Nintendo Direct during E3 because they're ass backwards, and they're not going to E3 because they're bleeding money, and I could keep going on because Nintendo Directs are weird. But I'm not going to. But I've gone on long enough about Nintendo. I don't like harping on negative things, but I think this is something that we had to talk about. So guys, let me know what you think about Nintendo right now. What do you want them to do? What will make you happy? What will make you go out and buy a Wii U? Or what will make you want to keep your Wii U? Are you like me? Are you a Nintendo fan at heart that is just overly skeptical? Or are you one of those people that just hate on Nintendo all the time? Like how many people we see on the internet? Let's have a chit chat about all that in the comments below. And as always, guys, I'm Jake Baldino. You can like me on Facebook, you can yell at me on Twitter, and you can subscribe because video games.